Good morning, everybody. This is Jack Gleason with Startuptrading.com. It's 9 o'clock in the morning on July 23rd, 2020. For our economic news events in the overnight session, we had a MPC member Haskell speaking at 7 a.m. for the Great Britain pound, unemployment claims at 8:30, and then after the bell at 10 a.m. there's going to be the consumer confidence number for the euro as well as the CB leading index for the US dollar. 10:30 natural gas storage, and then this evening we're going to have flash manufacturing PMI for the Australian dollar, and out of the Great Britain pound we're going to have consumer confidence. Tomorrow in the overnight session we have for Red Star news events out of the euro, French flash services PMI, German PMI, and just a bunch of PMI numbers out of Europe, and then the Great Britain pound, and then we'll have PMI for the US markets all tomorrow. So that's it for news for the rest of the week. I titled this video, the dollar hits profit targets, and right on cue I just dropped in the trading room that I think Treasury Secretary Mnuchin was giving a speech. I don't know exactly where it is, but he had said something, I quoted, the U.S. government will protect the status of the dollar, which is, I always find it interesting. You know, you get those comments right around profit targets. So we've been looking at this profit target at 94.78, and 94.78.3 is the overnight low. And you can see there's a pretty decent rally off of that. So I'm going to go to a 4-hour chart and show you the dollar target. So this was an extension that was identified going back to May 26th, and then we sat in a consolidation towards the end of June, beginning of July, and that had a downside target here. Now that this target has been hit, I just want to bring it up because this can affect some of the currency markets that I trade and go over every single morning. When you hit profit targets in the DXY, you also had the potential of reversing in like the Aussie dollar, the euro, the USD CAD, the Japanese yen, and even gold and silver. And the markets are all affected by this. So there's a possibility we come in all the way into that same anchor new low, maybe in the future. But I just wanted to be aware that that profit target has been hit here on the low, and we could see a reversal in some of the currencies. So I will begin the day with some of the currencies that are reversing, and then we'll move on to the indexes and gold and silver. First one I want to start with is the Aussie dollar, just because it has the most perfect technical reversal. There was an extension long in the Aussie dollar from an anchor that begins on April 30th. And that was drawn to the high of June 10th. Now, our profit target was 71.79. 71.79, basically we dipped 2 pips in yesterday and began selling off here in the Australian dollar. At some point in the future, this same anchor new high, because we've come right off that target, is there's a possibility we sell all the way back off into that 38% retracement. But if we go down to the hourly chart, you can see that we have begun reversing out of this high. This looks like a head and shoulders pattern. You got a shoulder, head, shoulder with a neckline break in the overnight session. We've gone to and through those profit targets. I'm just going to draw that next traditional, that full 50% retracement short for the day. That is going to give us a short entry right around the prior low at the 71.75. So that's going to be the setup here for the Australian dollar, and really all supports need to be confirmed unless we get down to that extension, because they're unknown right now. Once we've broken in reverse trend with that dollar trend reversing, that's something to pay attention to as well. Moving on to the euro. The euro has a couple of different variations. I'm going to go to a 4-hour chart. The euro has completed this extension, and it completed earlier this week. It was a 115.19, and once we got through that negative 23% profit target, there's actually the possibility that we begin extensions at the prior high, which is a 114.20 too high, a 114.20 too high. That 50% retracement is a 115.11, and it also lines up with an extension that I have from an hourly anchor going back to July 8th, that high to high. So there's 2 different levels I have at this 115.11 level here. 11 level, a little bit of a tongue twister. So there's 115.11, 115.12 is also the low that we checked on Wednesday. And this is definitely a high level of support I'm going to be looking at for the rest of the week. and even into next week if we can trade it. But you can see we've basically had a little bit of a double top, and then we have rolled over here. If the short trades before the long setup, that's at a 115.70, that short is valid and would lead us down into the 115.11. So we have a valid 50% retracement short in the euro at a 115.70 and a valid extension 50% retracement long. That lines up with a 38 of a different draw in a prior low. Really liking this level near 115.11 for the euro USD. Moving on to the pound, which is, you know, in its own sequence. The pound, we go to a 4-hour chart here. There's this previous high that we have broken out of that has acted as support. This high goes back. It's a daily swing high to what is that, April 14th, and the low of the week, so that Sunday night low to high, lines up perfectly with that 50% retracement. Now, we bounced off of it, we broke out of any opposing short, and we've run right back into that 38% retracement. So I'm going to continue to respect this support level unless it breaks the retest of what is Wednesday's low. And that's about the only thing on the higher time frame. We could just be in a range here from 127.40 down to the bottom. But you can see there's active buyers on the 50%. And it looks like so far this morning there's an active buyer on the 38% of this higher time frame setup. Moving on to the USD CAD, which with the dollar rally, the USD CAD will rally as well. We've run back into the daily bottom of the range that we've made in June, right? This is where we produced, this is quite the bar on the 11th of June. The USD CAD went straight up. It was over a 200 pip range, and we've gone right back to where that support has come in. We had this 50% retracement short that completed profit target. So we're through those targets and we're getting a reversal on this USD CAD. We also have a trend line touch. So I am very interested in the first measured move long here from the CAD. So I'm taking the low of the overnight session. Too high gives me a 133.98, and I'd like to see a pullback that right now, if we were to trade it, kind of lines up with that trend line is as well. A pullback to get into the reversal of the trend. But because we've completed these profit targets, there's one of two things. One, the extension, the low to low. If we are going to continue to go straight down and not hold the long, we would need to hold below the lows of 134.90 to low. That's the low of July 9th to low. And then if we do not hold that, there's just a possibility that we come full halfway back short from the top of the range. This would be totally normal for us to trade into this long setup and rotate all the way back up into the 135.42. That's a pretty big move. It's 500 pips. I'm totally wrong on that. It's 140 pips. Math's a little off today. Got excited. Saw the big target. But yeah, you can see this is where the consolidation zone is. And, you know, we wedged out here, move right back in that retest. Off of reversal would be totally normal. So I'm going to be setting an alert there. That's going to be some time out, but 140 pips till the next higher time frame resistance and a recheck of the breakdown. Moving on to gold, which yesterday I do want to point out, I'm going to go to the daily chart, the amount of volume that was in the market in the GC contract. Why is that not going? Thinkorswim bug. Okay, and I'm not even talking like the number of contracts, but basically, you know, we had the volatility in March, and there was incredible volume in gold during that. But since, what is that? That is March 27th. This is the highest amount of volume that we have traded, and it was into a new high of the year. So into a new high of the year, very aggressive participation continues on the long side. What there is right here is an extension, and this is a very valid extension. This is from the high of July 8th to high. Okay, and let's go down to the hourly chart. That we have two different levels that we could participate on. The first one is going to line up with the previous high we broke out of Wednesday's high and an hourly leg start. That's going to be an 1865.7. 1865.7 will be that first level of support, and then the 50% retracement below is going to be an 1858.9, so call it 1859s. Those are the two support levels here in GC. And as a reminder, yesterday's video was titled gold to break out of its all-time high in August, which I do believe will continue to happen. There is that comment, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin made this morning about protecting the dollar status as far as it being a stronger currency. But let's be honest, when they're printing trillions of dollars, that's just a comment he's making off the cuff. There's really nothing they can do when they're spending so much money to keep the currency from going lower. Not that I'm expecting a collapse of the dollar, but clearly the markets are showing that the value of the dollar is going lower, and that's why you're seeing these moves in gold and silver and some of the other currencies against the U.S. dollar continuously trend. All right, so going to pay attention to both those levels, set some alerts. Little more technical setups here this morning than we had yesterday. Next, we're going to be moving on to silver, which is just in beast mode. The ranges in silver, this has become a very volatile product over literally the last 3 days. Really, mostly this week. From Monday we were at the highs of 2019. By Tuesday we had broken through the highs of 2016, and then we doubled the move from Monday and Tuesday in the overnight session and continued straight up. Now, our extension anchor we had gone over yesterday gives us an upside profit target of 23.87. When we made this new high off the futures reopen at 6 p.m. last night, New York time, the swing low of Wednesday from the European session to high came in as support. Now here we are at a second test. It's a 22.71. We are bullish above, even on the higher time frame, bullish above 21.40, and this is a double bottom here. Okay, because we have broken out of shorts, the momentum is to the upside. We are at the bottom of the range here in silver, and the upside targets are 23.87. 23.87. Silver and gold remain some of the most technical, volatile markets that are trading to the long side right now that we trade. Moving on to the Russell. The Russell has this extension anchor that I had highlighted. Now, I didn't go over the Russell yesterday morning, which I'm a little upset that I didn't, because we had really one of the more technical moves. So the Russell bounced off of this zone I had highlighted. I believe I highlighted that on Monday, or no, Tuesday. That was Tuesday. And then we broke out of a short. We set up in a 50% retracement long. That 50% retracement long literally went to the tick on its targets. And then so when we go to the tick on a traditional, I don't like to draw the next one. It's just that next halfway back. So we're opening up right on support. And this entire zone here from 1482 to 1478 is going to be very important for the Russell to hold. The Russell had a better reaction to the upside than the ES did yesterday, than the Dow did. So the Russell, to me, is where you want to put your eyeballs on if you're looking to trade to the long side. We have valid upside profit targets in the Russell. Let me delete this. All the way up at 15.15s. 15.15s. And let's just take a look at this daily chart here in the Russell. We do, the Russell is really the only market, the only index that is not broken through its June highs here. So it's lagging a little bit here, but that just means there's room to run if these markets continue to stay strong. I also want to go over the VIX, which I'm just going to type in VX real quick. One important thing to pay attention to, and this is the only thing I'm interested in the VIX when it does trade, is we want an alert at 26.28. The VIX rolled over, so we have that new VIX contract. That new VIX contract is the August contract. When we roll over in the VIX gaps up because the front month trades higher than the back month, and that creates a trend break on the continuous contract, which is going to give us a 50% retracement long in the VIX. And when that halfway back long in the VIX trades, there will be hedges put on the VIX, which will arbitrage the indexes lower. Quite a bit to remember. But when that happens, there's potentially double top situations in the ES or the Nasdaq. We're really going to want to watch very closely where the indexes are, and if there's any selling pressure when the VIX comes into that 26.30 level. So I will bring it up in the trade room when it happens, but until then, it's just an alert I have on the back of my screen. Moving on to the S&P 500, which has stuck the 50% retracement long for the week, so the lows of Sunday night, Monday to high. Now we have broken out of the shorts. We had a 50% retracement long that was actually like front run by a tick yesterday. We completed that negative 61, and then our next traditional here is just 32.65, which is bringing us back into the prior day's range. We are bullish above. I wouldn't even consider there to be a bearish sequence unless we were to break the full 50% retracement long. But the two support levels, 32.64 half, and then below that we're going to have a 32.55.75. Moving on to the Dow. The Dow has run right up into the highs of last week Wednesday. Okay, and that's what we were rejected from in the overnight session. I am looking for what the Dow did not do. So we had this halfway back long. Actually, now that I look at it, this halfway back long broke. It broke at 61, and then the highs of that target are actually that double top, and then we came off of it. So what I'm looking for is just that low of Wednesday to high, and then if that does not hold, right below it here is going to be the 26,696, and that would be a little bit of a gift if we got a pullback that deep. So I'm going to highlight that zone here for the Dow. Moving on now to the Nasdaq, which is on the weaker side of things. We have this big double top that we've been unable to get through. The Nasdaq has not broken out of its 50% retracement short. I still would like to see, and maybe if we get some selling pressure here, if we can complete the short setup and move down into the full long from Tuesday's low of last week. That's a 10,708. That is a very interesting spot for me as a retest of a breakout. Just this entire zone. We could dip in. It depends on how heavy the selling pressure is when we get down there. But this is where I would like to see the Nasdaq, and it's going to be something to watch really closely because the Nasdaq has been the one that's like kind of unable to get up any higher. Yesterday we had Tesla earnings and Microsoft earnings, two big movers and components of the Nasdaq that could definitely put that thing on the chopping block here today. So we'll have to watch how that trades. And then finally we'll move on to oil. Oil is holding the halfway back long for the week as well. So we have Monday's low to high, and we right now are just in a range from the top side, 42.40, and then 41.24 on the bottom side, which is where we spent basically all day yesterday consolidating. It first traded at 5 a.m. and the last time we touched was like 11:15. There was a breakout from that level, and then we just went right to the top of the range, right back to the bottom. So 41.24 is the support. It will be a second test that we came off of yesterday, and then below that, the 40.79 would really be a pretty important first test of a higher time frame, 50% retracement, which goes back to the lows of last Tuesday. Lastly here, this USD JPY, which with the potential reversal of the dollar, we could see a continuation to the upside, but the USD JPY actually picked up strength before the dollar did. So we had rotated to the bottom of the range on Tuesday. There was a really big trend break, broke out of a consolidation phase straight to the bottom of the range. We failed to continue through lows. We broke out of shorts. We traded a halfway back long that completed targets. And then so far, the range here is really tight. The ATR and the hourly is like 6 pips, which is nothing. The swing low from a 106.86 to high has traded once, twice on its 50% retracement to 107.07. And that would lead us into a target completion of a 107.38, which is right back at retesting this higher time frame short. And we can just test and test and test this over and over again. But the highs going back to June 30th to the low of the 10th of July, just traded it once, twice, 3 times. We can come back up, trade it 4th time, and that would be a resistance level if we got it. We failed to hold the full 50% retracement short. So it's going to be interesting here if we continue to go up for that retest, or if we just pause right here. But that's going to wrap up my morning trade plan. There's a lot of technical levels out there. Just be patient for those hourly setups. The indexes, I think, are just continue to be like a tough intraday trade for looking for any types of continuations. We're really not getting more than one or two very clean setups in the indexes because we don't have the big ranges that we had before to the up or to the downside. So you do want to just be a little more patient in those indexes, and the currencies are the movers here today, as well as gold and silver. But that's going to wrap up my morning trade plan video. If you enjoyed this content, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps with my YouTube rankings. And if you're interested in learning more about trading or checking out the trade room, click the link below. Today I got a founding member of ClickFunders coming on, and they're a forex funding firm that does actually like no tests. So basically, there's like a one-time fee. There's no max drawdown, so you can lose as much money as crazy. So one of the founding members is going to come on, explain how his system works. It's going to be at 12 o'clock in the trade room. I've got to run through a test with him at 11. So be there, be square. If you have any questions, it's clickfunders.com. You can check out their website before, but I'll be going over that in the trade room. Everybody have a wonderful day. Take care, and I'll see you guys there. Explain how his system works. It's going to be at 12 o'clock in the trade room. I've got to run through a test with him at 11. So be there, be square. If you have any questions, it's clickfunders.com. You can check out their website before, but I'll be going over that in the trade room. Everybody have a wonderful day. Take care, and I'll see you guys there.